Welcome to All About St. Paul, where we feature videos about city services, programs, entertainment, and more.
He's Nick Nelson from the city's video production team.
And she's Liz Wagner from the Parks Department's Marketing and Communications Division.
Coming up on this week's show.
A one-time auto manufacturing plant will be a community of the future.
Fright Farm will give you a scare.
A St. Paul fire station gets some needed upgrades.
The Super Bowl brings benefits to its hosts.
No boat, no problem. You can get out on the Mississippi.
We'll have all of that and a lot more on All About St. Paul.
Well, we are coming to you today from St. Paul's Highland neighborhood in the southwest corner of the city, just across the river from Minneapolis.
For many years, the anchor of this community was the Ford manufacturing plant. Officially called the Twin Cities Assembly Plant, the factory began its run making Model Ts in 1925 and ended manufacturing in 2011 with the Ford Ranger pickup. The City of St. Paul has been guiding redevelopment plans for the 135-acre site for the last decade.
While recently the framework of those plans was solidified with the adoption of the Ford Site Zoning and Public Realm Master Plan.
We knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we needed to seize that moment. We knew that, just as Henry Ford had declared back when he first came to that site, this was one of the best sites in the entire country. In that instance, for the development of a motor facility, but in this instance, to rebuild a community. When you think about that site on the banks of the Mississippi River, attached to one of the best neighborhoods in the entire region, 10 minutes from either downtown and 5 minutes from an international airport that can take you anywhere in the world, we knew we had to seize this moment. But we knew we needed to do something different. We needed to have a 21st century vision for a community that included the latest and greatest in technology, the greenest strategies, the most sustainable development ideas that we could possibly find, and we needed to make sure that it was an equitable community. And I think that the plan that was passed yesterday by the St. Paul City Council achieves all of those goals. I put a group of incredibly dedicated folks, some of whom are here today, on that task. It started with former planning director Cecile Bedore, who's not here with us today, continued with our great planning and economic development director Jonathan Sage Martinson. It included Donna Drummond and Mike Richardson, and it included Merritt Clapp Smith, who I think is the unsung hero of all of the work that has been done here. This is a community vision that was passed by the St. Paul City Council last year. I'm proud to have led that effort. I'm proud to have made sure that we continue to have a focus on the future, and I believe that in the coming years we will see rise out of the site of the old Ford Motor Company, one of the greatest visions anywhere in the world.
We'll have more on the Ford Site redevelopment project later on in the show.
Well, Liz, we are in the middle of my favorite time of year. If you didn't already know it, I am a Halloween junkie. And one of Minnesota's top haunted attractions is right here in the St. Paul area, so I had to check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, step right up for the greatest show on earth. You're gonna be amazed. You're gonna be shocked. Come one, come all if you dare.
Well, there's a famous movie line that says, "In space, no one can hear you scream." But here at the Ramsey County Fairgrounds, they'll definitely hear you scream when you visit Each Halloween season, this historic barn on the St. Paul-Maplewood border becomes one of the Twin Cities' premier haunted destinations. Fright Farm began in 1996 when volunteers from the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office created the event as a fundraiser. Brad Kamich was, and still is, the head haunter.
It was an idea that I had. I used to do home haunts in my backyard and things like that, and I approached the sheriff at the time and asked if we could maybe do a haunted house here. And then each year it just grew. We added more people, we added more sets.
A 30-year veteran of the Sheriff's Office, Kamich also has a background in community theater.
So I build sets and things for theatrical productions around here. This is a lot like theater, except it's a little more three-dimensional. Instead of looking at a set on a stage, you actually walk through sets, so it's a little bit more immersive.
More than a dozen volunteers begin as early as August to assemble the set pieces. 25 community members become actors. These interactive players provide the real scares at Fright Farm. Add in ticket takers and support staff, and about 100 folks donate some 4,000 hours to the cause.
I like to volunteer. It's my way of giving back to the community. I like to scare people. So, I don't know, I'm not professional at all, but I do like to dress up and do fun things.
This is actually only my second year, but I made a bit of a impact last year because I broke a wall.
Yeah, wall.
I broke a wall.
Impact.
Yeah. And they didn't kick me out, so it's a great place to be.
So he stayed.
Oh, I love the people. I absolutely love the people. The patrons coming through, all the volunteers. Everybody's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of excitement and a lot of energy.
It's just fun to do this. We just love Halloween, and you know, it's a great cause.
And the people are really nice. You get to know people, and kind of like a Fright Farm family.
You never know what's going to happen, but you know it's going to be a good time.
These volunteers put on a professional show. Fright Farm is frequently found on best of lists for Halloween activities.
The best part is standing at the exit door watching people and listening to them as they come out, because you get that pure reaction from people when they walk out, and that enthusiasm and the excitement when people leave, and it lets you know that you did a good job, and that's real satisfying.
It was very scary.
Yeah, I didn't like the dark parts.
It was good. It was pretty scary.
You know, the clowns in the beginning were really intimidating, you know. Some guy came out of nowhere. Really scary.
It was really creepy and unexpected where people were hiding.
The random bangings would definitely get you scared.
My favorite thing is probably when they just start popping out of nowhere.
It was a lot of fun.
Proceeds from Fright Farm benefit the Ramsey County Sheriff's Foundation and pay for things from dive equipment to dogs for the canine unit to its Take a Kid fishing program.
This is a tremendous community outreach tool for us. We get up to 1,000 people a night here, and some of the people show up and they don't even know that this place is run by the sheriff's office. It's fun and positive for the volunteers, for our own staff, for the community, and it's just something different and novel, and you don't get that many opportunities to do that kind of thing.
So what are you waiting for? Come on down to Fright Farm, if you dare.
A great show and a good cause.
And I got lots of cool ideas for my Halloween display at home.
There's also lots of seasonal fun to be found at St. Paul Parks and Recreation. Free and low-cost Halloween parties, cozy bonfires, scary movie nights, and more. Go to stpaul.gov/Halloween to check it out.
We're in the city's Highland neighborhood today, and just down the road a bit is Station 19, one of St. Paul Fire's 15 fire stations.
Station 19 just completed some needed renovations. Let's take a look.
I would just like to again thank the mayor, Councilmember Tolbert for their support. The design of this building, it was very, as you will see on the tours later through the day, has made a significant difference for how we house not only 4 people, but how we house 8. We had to do some expansions to make sure that we could fit all this equipment in the fire station to go along with the people that stay here for 24 hours at a time. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the events that are here for everybody, and thank you again for your time.
Well, as you know, the Twin Cities is hosting a little event called the Super Bowl in just a few short months. Now, while the game is happening over in M-Town, excitement and economic benefit are spilling over onto this side of the river.
The NFL Super Bowl Host Committee is funding construction of the state's first Katow courts at Marydale Park and Duluth and Case Recreation Center. The Super Bowl Environmental Program is also sponsoring several urban forestry projects, including one at Como Park Zoo and Conservatory.
Como Park Zoo and Conservatory serves 2 million visitors each year, and our mission is to inspire the public to value the presence of living things in our lives. We could not do this without great partners like the Super Bowl Environmental Program and our nonprofit partner, Como Friends. The Super Bowl Environmental Program is part of NFL's Sustainable Platform, carried out in partnerships with the Minnesota Super Bowl Host Committee. The program aims to reduce the environmental impact of Super Bowl events and leave a legacy in the host communities. What better place to leave a legacy than at Minnesota's Jewel of Horticulture at the Marjorie McNeely Conservatory in Como Regional Park. With us today are volunteers from the Verizon's Green Team who have already been out for a few hours with Tina Dombrowski, Como's horticulture manager, digging holes and prepping our site. We also have some great helpers around us. These students are from the St. Paul Music Academy. They are second graders from Miss Maria Lazowski's class, and they're going to be taking part of our Como residency program. They've been here for the entire week learning about the plants and the animals and doing all their classwork with our professional education staff.
We are in St. Paul's Highland neighborhood today, and as we mentioned earlier, this site on the former Ford Automotive Manufacturing Plant is poised to become the city's newest neighborhood.
Let's watch a video made earlier this year to educate the public on the potential development at the Ford site.
The Ford site is a 125-acre area near the Mississippi River in the Highland Park neighborhood of St. Paul. Previously, the site was home to the Ford Motor Company's Twin Cities assembly plant, which operated for more than 80 years and served as a workplace to nearly 1,800 employees. Ford's decision to shut down the plant in 2011 provided St. Paul with a unique redevelopment opportunity. This gives the city a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to set the stage for a connected, livable, and sustainable community at the site, one that will be an asset for generations to come.
What I hope to see here in 20 years is an incredibly vibrant community where families can live, work, and play.
Since 2007, after Ford first announced the plant's future closure, the city has been seeking ideas for how to bring the site to life. We have heard from community members and other stakeholders that this site should be a livable, mixed-use neighborhood, one that looks to the future with clean technologies and high-quality design for energy, buildings, and infrastructure, one that supports walking, biking, and transit, and provides services, jobs, and activities that every generation can enjoy. To create this mixed-use urban village, the city envisions rezoning the site into 6 districts. 4 of these districts will be multifamily residential areas, increasing in height and density from the Mississippi River Boulevard, moving east through the site. This focus on nature and open space at the Ford site, as well as its housing, jobs, and recreation, will bring in new pedestrians, cyclists, and cars. Currently, the Ford site is a barrier to traffic flow. This new development will be incorporated into the existing street grid, ensuring it is integrated into the neighborhood and assists with efficient traffic flow. Its streets will be designed with all users in mind. The redevelopment's proposed density will support new retail and services that benefit the whole neighborhood. And at full build-out, this redevelopment could provide up to 1,500 jobs and between 2,400 and a maximum of 4,000 residential units.
One of the key things about zoning is it really sets the vision. It doesn't tell you exactly what building needs to be where or what it's going to look like, but it tells the broad story of what we're trying to accomplish here.
We want to make sure that there isn't an old Highland and a new Highland, but one Highland, one St. Paul, and that we can properly integrate those.
While it could take up to 15 years to fully develop the Ford site, this plan will guide that redevelopment and ensure that the vision of a connected, walkable community is realized here.
As the video explains, development on the site will be a long process, and it'll likely be a few years before any buildings start popping up.
Now, Ford will likely put the land on the market in early 2018. For more information on the project, you can go to stpaul.gov/Ford.
On our last show, we told you about Paddle Share, a first-of-its-kind program that lets you rent a kayak for use on the Mississippi River.
Pending weather conditions, Paddle Share is scheduled to run through the end of October, so there's still a little time left for you to give it a try. Let's take a look.
Paddle Share is a first-of-a-kind kayak sharing program in a national park in the Mississippi National River and Recreation Area. The way you get a kayak is to go on paddleshare.org. You pay with a credit card, sign a waiver, and once you've done that, you will get an email or a text with a code that opens all of your equipment at the Paddle Share station in Hidden Falls.
The City of St. Paul is a partner in the Paddle Share program. You know, what I love about it is that it helps St. Paul residents and visitors really understand the identity of the Mississippi. We get to experience it crossing over bridges and walking alongside it in incredible regional parks, but this is a great opportunity to get out on the river.
The Mississippi National River and Recreation Area is an urban national park. It was designated by Congress in 1988. There is a vision in our plan for a continuous trail and open space corridor that gets people to the river on both sides of the river. And I think this Paddle Share program is another example of how we are setting the pace for new kinds of recreational opportunities on a river.
The Paddle Share program with the National Park Service is an incredible way to join up cities all across the national park here in the Mississippi River and to introduce St. Paul residents and those visiting to this incredible body of water.
Well, as I said, Paddle Share is scheduled to run through the month of October, but don't worry, the kayaks will be back next spring when the warm weather returns.
Well, that's our show for this time.
As usual, you can find all the city's videos online at youtube.com/stpaulgov.
See you next time.
Thank you.